Welcome back to Starting Nine.
Oh!
Episode 205.75. It is the Game 2 of the World Series reaction episode. If you watched the stream tonight, then you saw we had a very, 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 very special guest by the name of Brian Wilson. You missed it. It was an all-time stream for Game 2. And we took a little trip down memory lane. We had Bryn piping in the old clips from the Starting Nine digital show in 2017, the OG Starting Nine digital show. So it was fun to have him on, fun to talk to him and get to relive some of that stuff. That was the good stuff. Those were the days. Those were the pre-Rocket days. Those were the pre-stress days. I had just gotten to New York. That city hadn't broken my spirit yet. I'm such a different person now. I'm so sad now compared to back then.
Well, and it's great to remember and enjoy the moments that brought us here, and that's what B Wees was a part of. Is phase one.
Yeah,
phase one, the pre-launch. Some might say.
Yeah. It's fair.
Pre-launch.
That was for sure pre-launch. That was, I don't know what it was, but it was good times. I mean, I know that he's not, I mean, even back then he wasn't really watching baseball. I know he's less plugged into baseball now, but it would be fun.
He knows they're playing it.
Yeah, he knows they're playing.
Yep.
Yeah, he knows. So a part of the big theme last night, if you listen to episode 205. Episode 205 was sort of the World Series preview episode, and then we did 205 and a half, which really should have been 205 and 2/4, but it was 205 and a half, which was the Game 1 reaction. Now this is 205 and 3/4, which is the Game 2 reaction. So I guess the central theme of 205 and a half was, I mean, after one game, a lot of the discussion was, are the Rays dead after one game? After one game. And I was like, well, let's not that this was Dallas's take. I'm saying that this is more of like, I saw a lot of this on the internet. We've seen teams in this postseason get absolutely snuffed out, stomped on, and then win the next day. So I don't know why we're talking about a dead Tampa Bay Rays team. It's fucking Game 1. Like, yeah, they didn't have their best day. Tyler Glasnow didn't have his best stuff. The Rays offense wasn't running on all cylinders. That's fine. Come back to the fucking yard the next day. Figure it the fuck out, get a W. Now the series is tied. And that's where we are, Dallas Braden. So how do you feel about this series now that it is a best of 5 from this point forward?
This is what you were, I don't want to say this is what you were expecting if you were Rays fans, but this is what you needed to happen. And there's just no better scenario than what you were getting tonight, with Blake Snell on the mound, down, and using that for motivation if you're Blake Snell and if you're that Rays lineup. And we've talked about the success that the Rays have experienced and out of the places from which it has come, Arozarena being one of those guys. Well, nothing much, but who shows up? Loud noise! Brandon, loud noise, right? You touched on it, Carabas.
I did.
Gonna need this guy to show
up. He was
my
X factor. I said he was my X factor in this series. And couple homers tonight. Couple homers. That first one in the first inning. I mean, like, that's big. And I know that.
How about the way he puts the bat down? Go back and do yourself a favor and take a look at that too. And you can almost feel him exhale, right? Not a huge bat flip, not a big fuck you, taste this, but it was a huge exhale. He was you could feel him just like rip that monkey off his back. And from there, you started to get comfortable. What was interesting is Kevin Cash actually pointed out, you know what? If Lau can get some low fastballs going, if he can see some low heaters, maybe even from the left side from a guy like Kershaw, just maybe, that might get him going. And you're thinking, how is that going to make any sense? Like, seeing a guy like Kershaw or seeing like how does that play into well, setting his sights, get him back into his hot zone, getting him back into his groove. That right there is having a feel if you're Cash. And at times you wonder, could you see guys move on from individuals who are struggling? If so, Brandon Lau never gets that opportunity.
Brandon Lau, by the way, was not doing particularly well in this series. Let's just leave it there. He wasn't. We don't have to get into numbers. Was he hitting below 100? Yeah, okay, fine. We don't have to get into particulars, though. We don't have to narrow it down to exactly what he was hitting. But it wasn't very good. It was not very good. But that didn't matter. Like I said, coming to the ballpark the next day, you forget about all the shit that happened before. Next thing you know, bam, 2 homers. 2 homers for Brandon Lau, who, by the way, I think he's one of the most underrated players in baseball. Like I tweeted that multiple times over the course of this season. He would have a big game for Tampa, and he'd be like, "Can we start talking about Brandon Lau?" As I don't think he's going to be a household name anytime soon. But can we just take a second to appreciate how good he is as a baseball player? Because he is.
You might as well put him on the West Coast. You might as well put him on a West Coast baseball team.
Yeah, he's got some David Fletcher vibes to him.
Right. I don't know if he's got those Fletch vibes.
No, he does. He does. He just needs to be in the right market.
I feel like, he's got more juice than Fletch.
He's a better player than David Fletcher.
Way more juice. Way more. I'll stop you there. This is not, we will not stand for David Fletcher slander here.
It's not slander. It's an objective statement. Brandon Lau is a very good baseball player. If it wasn't for DJ LeMahieu, we might be talking about Brandon Lau as one of the best, if not the best, second baseman in the American League.
I will not argue that Brandon Lau is a very good baseball player.
Very good baseball.
I want to talk about what happened on the mound. Let's start with the Tampa Bay Rays.
Let's start there.
4 2/3 out of the lefty Blake Snell.
Doesn't it not feel like that though? Like after, like if we're like thinking back on tonight's game, like doesn't it not feel like it's 4 2/3 for Blake Snell?
But there's a reason that I didn't say shit about what's going on. There's a reason I didn't even allude to it. And there's a reason I was so cavalier in dismissing the moment that it all came to an end, is because there was just no way that was going to be a thing.
I don't think anyone thought he was actually going to close it out.
Well, but that's why I think maybe you might subconsciously think like, did it really feel like 4 2/3 though? And the reason you don't feel that way is because deep in the back of that brain of yours, no hitter. No, that's screaming out. And that's why it's like at the end of it, when you look at the line, you're like, oh, that's what it was. But the build up to that point is like almost edge of your seat type shit. Like, because you're thinking, would they? Like you're planning out 3 6-pitch innings in a row to will Blake Snell to that finish line. And that just wasn't ever going to be a thing.
Yeah. He had that 10-pitch first inning, and it was like, all right, he's locked in. Like, he's on tonight.
Well,
but the 4 walks, because it's like, that's probably what it is. Because it's like, oh, you're thinking no-hitter, and if there's a no-hitter going, the pitcher's probably flying through these innings. But the 4 walks is kind of what slowed down his pace. And then in my head, I'm thinking, like, yeah, he probably went, like, 5 2/3, like, finished 6. But it's like, oh, no, it's because, like, he had the 4 walks mixed in there. So if you only give up 2 hits, you're thinking, oh, you probably flew through those innings. No, it just didn't happen. Plus, the punchies take a little bit of time too.
Well, and that's the thing.
You get 9.
Right. So automatically, that's 27 pitches.
Yep. Minimum. Then the 4 walks.
Then 4 walks. And like you could say like 16 pitches minimum on the walks, but that's saying he just 4-pitch walks each one of them. That wasn't the case. There were other pitches thrown. So the longevity of the outing revealed itself a little earlier than maybe what the stat line was showing you. Does that make sense?
Yes.
If you're paying attention to how it's going, you can see the end, but the storyline, the flashy, shiny shit that's catching your attention, no free ads, orange mango face, is what's like, oh wow, it's gonna keep going. Like could this be, what is this? So, but this was gonna be the game that they had to win. They had the right guy on the mound to do it.
Yeah.
And the rest of the guys coming in, for better or worse, were able to get the job done. And that's what the Rays, that's what their MO has been. So again, attributing this to Kevin Cash having a really good feel for when to go get his guys, who to deploy when. I mean, why not? Why not the Rays? That's what they're thinking, at least tonight.
I mean, if they were going to take a game like here in the early going, it was this game.
This was it.
This was the game that you had to take because you had a guy, former Cy Young Award winner in Blake Snell on the mound. Did he give you a stud performance? No. Was he good? Yes. Could he have gone longer? Would have been nice. But this was the game that the Dodgers went to bullpen you.
Now,
Gonsolin was starting, inning and a third. And shout out to Woody, Alex Wood, as the fucking sixth man deployed. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He was the sixth man deployed by Dave Roberts through 2 innings, and that was the longest outing by a Dodgers pitcher in this game.
Yeah, 2 innings. He gave up a hit. Yeah, 1 or 2 hits.
He gave up 2 hits, no runs, 1 walk, couple punchies.
So before we get to that performance at the end, let's go back and let's touch on Floro, because Floro was good.
Yep.
Floro did his job, what was asked of him. Little change piece, pull the string, keep the fuckers off balance. No soft front puppies around here. Put them in the pound. Floro had it working. Who came in after Floro? It wasn't May right after
Gonzalez.
Okay, and he gave up a run, didn't he?
He did give up a run, yes.
Yes, he gave up a run. Whatever.
But Dustin May, are we?
Yes, we are. We are. You absolutely are. How are you not concerned? How are you not concerned? After what you saw early on?
I don't know if concern is the right word.
It's the right word. Can't find the zone, and when he does,
my flag has gone up. My flag has gone up. Like where I've been trained. Like I don't think I missed an inning that Dustin May has pitched this entire year. And then watching him, you're dazzled by, the pitching ninja gifts of the 2-seamer movement and, diving into right-handed hitters. So I think as it pertains to Dustin May, like it's not one of those things where, we're baseball fans, so we're trained to think, oh, it's the World Series, so it's deep and he's a rookie. So it's, all these innings are building up and it's like, well, are they? I mean, they fucking started the season the last week of July. So what is it? Like, what are you seeing from Dustin May? Because it's not fatigue. Like, it's not like, oh, we need to worry about limiting his innings and shutting him down. I mean, it's not like, it'd be like August, September, October. It would be fucking the 3rd month of the season. April, May, June. We're in June. We're in the equivalent of what would be June on his shoulder, on his arm. So what are you seeing from Dustin May? Because on the stream, we were talking about it too. The strikeouts per 9 innings was not as great as you would think that it would be for a guy that has a 98-mile-an-hour 2-seamer and can also burn you with a 4-seamer that hits triple digits. So what is it that we're seeing here? And the frisbee fucking slider that he'll throw on the outside corner to right-handers. Like, what is it that you're seeing?
I think it's kind of what we saw last night from Glasnow, and the misses are just not competitive enough. You have to give yourself something to work off of. And he is extremely erratic to the point where even if you have a multi-pitch mix for the hitter to have to choose from, that doesn't mean that they still won't decide to eliminate 2 of your pitches and still just ask you to throw the one they're looking for. And the numbers are probably telling them that they're going to get the one they're looking for in this certain count, and they're going to make you throw that for a strike. And when they do, they're going to be ready. And there's nothing more to fear than a hitter that is prepared for you location wise and pitch selection wise, because that means they have eliminated your other offerings, and that means they have a very good idea of what you're trying to do to them. And as a young guy, if you can't feel that out, and maybe you're not getting that feedback from other places, you're not cognizant of, and you're not feeling that lineup feel you out, meaning watching the way they're taking the pitches, reading swings. What is their best swing that they're getting off on? What pitch are they getting off on? And for Dustin May, not being anywhere around the strike zone with really anything, you're not giving yourself an opportunity to disguise your nastiness. So he's got to figure out a way to find himself back in the strike zone with multiple offerings, so he's no longer dissectable, if that makes sense.
It does make sense. There's one individual, I'm going to let you take the lead on this one, who is having himself a historic postseason for a rookie. Dallas, if you would.
Arozarena.
22 hits in this postseason.
Arozarena!
We're 2 games into the World Series, and Randy Arozarena has tied Derek Jeter for the most hits by a rookie in a postseason. Granted, yes, the Tampa Bay Rays got to play because they swept Toronto, so they got to play 1 extra postseason game or 2, I guess, because 95 was Jeter's rookie year? 96 was his rookie year. That's when they beat the Braves in the World Series. And yeah, so Randy Arozarena has made himself a name this postseason, and now he has etched himself next to a pretty, I guess it's a notable name. Like, people know who Derek Jeter is. He's
owner of the Marlins, right?
Owner of the Marlins.
Okay.
And it's kind of like a Billy Beane thing, where it's like, yeah, like everyone knows him as a baseball executive, but he actually used to play baseball too.
Yep.
So that's Derek Jeter. But Randy Arozarena making history, 22 hits this postseason, and he notched it on an infield single. And did I miss something? Why did he get lifted for a runner?
Defense, probably. Was he playing, or was he DH? I don't know.
Was he? I don't know.
Who was playing
It had to have been. He's playing left. Yeah, and then Phillips came in.
Yeah, so it had to be defense. Yeah.
Yeah. That was.
So I'd like to give Randy Arozarena his flowers before anybody else. Congratulations on setting the rookie record for hits in a World Series or hits in a postseason by a rookie.
22.
Shout out. Well, 23 will break the record.
Yeah, I think we'll probably end up seeing that relatively soon. I know that he's a guy that, that's your guy. We got the merch, store.barstoolsports.com. Dallas Braden has a Randy Arozarena shirt. You go check that out. Go buy that. Was there anyone else that you wanted to single out in this game? Because around the 4th inning, I was actually going to ask you, it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough to pick the MVP of game 2. It didn't end up being that tough, because 4 2/3 innings for Blake Snell. I was like, if Blake Snell goes 6 or 7 shut here, and then Lau has the 2 home runs, like, it's going to be tough to pick which guy's the MVP. The MVP of game 2 of the World Series, Brandon Lau. Is there anyone else that you'd like to highlight before we go do a quick little game 3 preview and take a couple questions before we get the fuck out of here?
No, I feel like Blake Snell, it's a good point to make that while it might have initially felt like a huge, monumental, great, big, long outing, it wasn't. But in this moment, it's really what you're looking for. He did what he needed to do, and he gave his team a chance to win. He exerted his dominance to an extent. He's not going to be happy about the walks. He'll tell you that. We all know that. But again, knowing what comes behind him, more than okay with what Blake was able to do today in a must-win game. He made his pitches. No doubt.
He did.
Made his pitches when he needed to.
He did. So did Castillo. Nice little fucking World Series save. You gotta get one out. He did it. Strikeout on 3 pitches. Thanks for coming out.
Fucking sweat.
One other guy, just really quickly. Corey Seager hit another fucking homer.
Sure did.
This guy's crazy. Guy's playing out of his mind this postseason. And to think that there are media members, and that's the other thing too. Like, there's been 3, maybe 4 different occasions where we've had media members asking dumb fucking questions to these players after games. And every time I tweet the video of it, they'd be like, oh, that's so-and-so. And it ends up being like respectable media members. Like, you would think that it's some fucking like dickhead radio host that just happened to get a press pass for the World Series and they want to dick around and get a soundbite for the morning show. These people are like actual journalists that aren't like slapdicks. And you get fucking some slapdick media guys like, hey, Corey, I know you just hit a bunch of home runs and you're breaking all these offensive records in the postseason, but what do you think about the Francisco Lindor trade rumors? Like, what do you think about those? It's like, shut the fuck up, dude. Shut up. Clean it up. Absolutely clean it up. Game 3. This is going to be a doozy. This is going to be Dallas. Do you have what's the tightest pair of pants that you own?
I've got a pair of skin tight snake skin pants.
Will you wear them tomorrow? On what day is it? Fucking. Will you wear them on Friday for Game 3?
I also have a pair of assless chaps.
You won't wear those,
buddy. Don't tease me with a good time. Who do we got on the bump? We got Bueller. We got Morton.
Walker Bueller versus old Chucky Morton in a little showdown. Some gunslingers in Game 3, and this is why it was so important for Tampa to win Game 2, because whatever happens in Game 1, whatever. Dodgers are the better team. Tip of the cap in Game 1. Game 2, they're going to try to fucking bullpen you guys. Motherfucker, we invented the bullpen game. You can't beat us at our own game. So Tampa Bay takes Game 2, series tie, go into Game 3, and you got Chucky Morton on the mound. This guy is a big game pitcher. And I see some journalists out there, they're like, oh, let's call him fucking Charlie Big Game Morton. You know what I used to hate? When people called James Shields Big Game James. He wasn't a big game pitcher. He might have pitched in some big games, but he didn't pitch like one. You know who pitches like a big game pitcher? Fucking Charlie Morton. So I'm fine. You know what? I'm fine. I am fine with Charlie Morton taking that nickname from James Shields, because I don't think James Shields ever should have had it in the first place. Shout out to Fernando Tatis Jr. But if you're gonna try and handicap this game, Dallas, you're gonna try and tell me who's gonna win this game. Gun to your head. Your reputation is on the line, Dallas Braden. Do you have the balls? Do you have the balls to say that the Tampa Bay Rays, after getting their doors blown off in Game 1, everyone dumping dirt on them at literally one game into this World Series, do you have the balls to say that the Tampa Bay Rays will actually have a lead in this series after that happened?
No, I don't.
You don't?
No.
You don't?
No, I'll say this. What's scary is the day off and the reset for the Rays bullpen.
Yeah, it is.
That's what's scary, because if you're the Dodgers, resetting Dustin May and his struggles, a guy that's been a big part of why you're here right now, aside from obviously all of the other things that are great about the Dodgers, but when you think pitching staff and who's been an impact, obviously May is a name, and you think of what that's looked like recently. A day off, you're hoping is just a mental day, because what you've seen has not been anything that you think you can rely upon. But as far as the offense goes, what did we see from the Dodgers before? We saw them make a little noise and not be quite enough, and then come back and kick the shit out of a team. And then what happened here? He came back late, not quite enough. So what would be the next domino to fall is they rest up and come back and kick the shit out of a team. Not saying that's going to happen, but what we've seen from the Dodgers, Walker Buehler, the blisters, for all intent and purposes, seem to be feeling okay. I feel like the Dodgers offense, I feel like that lineup is just too much to handle.
Here's how I think this one goes. I think Buehler and Morton cancel each other out. You're probably looking at, I don't know, somewhere in the 5th, 6th.
Yeah,
5 you get into those bullpens. And I like the Rays' guns after Morton more than I like the Dodgers' guns after Buehler. At least the first guy out. At least the first guy out is where I feel like if you can keep it.
Where would you even possibly give the Dodgers the upper hand in the bullpen? Like all things equal, all rest being equal, which is what tomorrow represents, is the reset day. At what point do you give the Dodgers the upper hand?
I mean, if Gratterall's, like, how are you using Gratterall there? I guess is Gratterall the first guy out for you? I don't hate that. Baez, he's been good this postseason. Like we haven't seen Jansen, obviously. If there's that button to be pushed, like, are you going to try and get Jansen some work? Because if this is going to go 7, we don't know.
We're beyond this is the World Series, bud. We're beyond getting Jansen some work. We saw 93s out of him last time.
94.
We got to believe you're ready for this. So
I like the stable more than I like whatever Roberts is calling upon there right after Buehler. So yeah, and I don't think, because I think it's going to be so close. Like you could be looking at a 2-1 ball game going into the 5th or the 6th inning. Once you start getting into that pen battle, maybe the Dodgers are winning 2-1 by that point. Do I feel confident enough that a guy like Randy Arozarena can run into one? Because he's run into a few this postseason, and he's done it against some pretty damn good pitchers. So I don't care who is coming out of the bullpen for Dave Roberts after a Walker Buehler is done with his day. If Randy Arozarena is squaring up Garrett Cole in the postseason, yeah, I'm you call on whoever you want. I like my chances with those guys. It's not the most star-studded lineup. It's not you're not going to see a ton of slugging percentage, but they've had some of the most, if not the most notable timely hits in this postseason have come from the Tampa Bay Rays offense that is not going to be blowing anyone's socks off when you're looking at the overall
noise.
They've had some timely hits, Dallas, and a lot of those timely hits have gone over the fucking fence. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. I feel like game 3 is going to be one of those games where, when it's all said and done, we might be using the S word.
Are you comfortable? Are you comfortable saying that whoever wins tomorrow wins the World Series?
Ooh.
Do you have the balls to say that whoever wins the game tomorrow goes on to win the World Series?
You know what? Dallas?
You don't have the balls.
I don't know if I have the balls to say that.
You pussy.
I don't know if I have the balls to say that.
Pussy.
Well, here's the deal. I think Tampa Bay wins game 3. I still pick the Dodgers in 7. I still feel good about that pick. So no, I don't have the balls to say that whoever wins game 3 is going to win the World Series, because I do feel like the Dodgers will still win the World Series even if they lose game 3, which I'm picking. I am picking the Tampa Bay Rays to win game 3. I am. I'm not going to be apologizing for that pick after it happens. And once again, my pick stands tall over Dallas Braden's pick. Dallas. Did Dallas's laptop die? Is that why I'm full screen? I thought I went full screen because of my pick. I think Dallas's laptop died. I think that's what happened there. All right, great. So I think we can just wrap it right there. Dallas's laptop's dead. You know what? I'll take some questions. I'll take some questions from the chat to wrap up this recap podcast, this little mini podcast. I'll take a couple questions from the chat on the Jared Carabas baseball podcast. Dallas is texting saying he's still here. That is incorrect. He is not here. Over under Morton. Oh, there he is.
I'm back.
What happened there?
I have no idea.
Interesting.
All right. A few questions. We got to go. Bryn's got work to do.
Bryn's got work to do. Okay. Let's see. How do I think that Bauer would fit in Toronto? I would love that. I know that the Rogers have the money. The Blue Jays owners are some of the most rich owners in professional sports, not just baseball, and they don't spend like it. Because I think, are they publicly traded team as well? Like they're public, so they try to keep their payroll down to keep the shareholders happy.
Yeah.
That would make the most sense. I would like them to do that. Maybe they do, maybe they don't. I don't have a ton of confidence that they will. Maybe they'll kick the tires on it. I would love to see that happen, though. That would be a great addition to an already very, very, very solid core. Do you have any thoughts on that?
On the Jays?
On the Jays potentially signing Trevor Bauer?
I mean, are they a Trevor Bauer away? No.
I mean, I don't know that they're a Trevor Bauer away from winning the World Series. No. Are they a Trevor Bauer away from getting into the? I mean, like, you get into the division series, anything can.
Does Trevor Bauer make him better than the Rays? Does Trevor Bauer make him better than the Yankees? No.
I think it's an interesting question of, does Trevor Bauer make them better than the Yankees? I think that it closes the gap significantly, especially like you don't know what they're going to do. Like, how do you replace Tanaka and Paxton? And like, does DJ LeMahieu come back? Like, the Yankees might walk into 2021 as a team that couldn't make it out of the division series, and now magically, like, they might not even be able to get to the division series.
Yeah, so that's what I mean. It's interesting to think that a guy like Bauer, much like Garrett Cole represented, could very well sway the balance of a division like that, depending on which team he decided to end up joining, should they be courting him.
Would be very interesting. And we'll obviously have a ton of reaction to that as it happens. But it's World Series time. Do we see Dustin May again this series? From Sean.
Yes.
Yeah, we do.
And it's going to be on the minus side of things. Dodgers losing or up by 4 or more.
So you don't think that we see him pitch in a game where the Dodgers are like, hey, we
leverage? No. Nope.
You think he's pitched his way out of that already?
Yes.
I think I kind of agree with you.
Yep. He has. Over under 7.5 Ks for Buehler.
Over.
I would have to take a look at. I gotta see what the lineup looks like. Know who he's facing.
Over. It's gonna be 9 punchies.
I'll tell you the overs hit both times game 1.
It's gonna be 9.
All right, last one. We don't want to keep Bryn up.
Yep. What game do we see the sex icon again? 4?
4 or 5?
4. I mean, like with the day off, right?
Yeah, 1, 2, day off, 4. No, 5.
And see him in game 5?
Yeah.
And there will be a game 5 because the Tampa Bay Rays have tied the World Series. And by the way, Brian Wilson Brian Wilson was getting on me because I was rooting for Tampa to win this game. I'm not rooting against the Dodgers. I'm rooting for a longer series. I'm rooting for a longer series. That's all. I want this thing to have some legs. I want to hold on to every little bit of baseball that I can before we go into an offseason where we're just stuck fucking ourselves. I don't want just watching a lot of Netflix and potentially moving Dallas Brain to Boston.
A lot of skin fires.
All right. We'll be back for game 3 on Friday with the live stream. Check in for that. You never know who's going to pop up. Obviously, again, Brian Wilson from the clouds came to the stream for game 2. You never knew who's going to show up. So be sure you watch the stream. We'll be posting it on the Starting 9 Twitter. And we'll be back with another podcast right after that as well. So we're podcasting and streaming our balls off, Dallas.
That's what we do.
That's
what we do.
Thanks to everyone in the chat as well for participating, hanging in. Again, you can watch these live podcasts. You can watch them. You can be part of them. You can send in questions. It's a good time. Yeah, join in.
We go.